Business History Association, a new association which wants to preserve and present Canadian business history. We've got a very simple program this evening, and in that Mark will speak about his book, I will speak about my book, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Mark Bonham is the Secretary-Treasurer of this new association, and I don't know if we've really met before, but he is an extraordinary person, and he's done so much. And he put together our conference a year ago, which resulted in a book on 150 years of Canadian business. In some ways, we were disappointed we did not get a better response, but I think the end result was outstanding. And I would urge those of you who have not purchased his book to purchase it. Before calling Mark up, I would, so many distinguished people here, I hesitate to single anyone out, but I think it's only appropriate that I recognize the Honorable Hal Jackman, who is, amongst other things, the former Lieutenant Governor of this province, the former Chancellor of this university, and for those of us who know a long time, best remembered for a many times defeated candidate in Toronto-Rosedale. Mark Bonham, Secretary-Treasurer, Canadian Business History Association.
Thank you, Joe, and it's truly a great honor for me to be in front of you today to talk about this new book from the Canadian Business History Association, which I had the great privilege of editing. It is our first publication for the organization. As Joe mentioned, we are a relatively young organization, having been just founded 4 years ago. And our conference last year, 150 Years of Canadian Business History, was held in conjunction with Canada's sesquicentennial. So it was a sesquicentennial conference and was our second conference in our history. Our third conference will be this year in November on the history of U.S.-Canada trade negotiations, which will be held at Rockland School. So a very hot topic, some very exciting speakers, and it's being held a day after the midterm elections. So you can imagine the excitement and the enthusiasm of the audience that's going to be present, so we hope you can join us for that. That'll be November 7th and the 8th at the Rockland School. And then next year's conference will be held at McGill, will be on the history of Golden Square Mile in Montreal, which is a very, very exciting story to tell. And so maybe we'll see you there as well. But thank you all for attending. I'm very thrilled to see everyone and so many familiar faces. It is to launch 2 books tonight. I'm going to talk about Becoming 150, 150 Years of Canadian Business History, which I had the honor of being both the editor and a contributor to the book. Now that book, as I mentioned, came out of the conference held last year at the Rockland School of Management, celebrating Canada's sesquicentennial and discussing the business sector's important role throughout those 150 years of history since the country was formally created, let's call it that. The CBHA-ACHA's mission is to advance the study and knowledge of Canadian business history and its role, both domestically and in world business history. And this book is a very important contribution to that mission. It is a mission that is more critical than ever. In a world that is rapidly changing and confronted with enormous political and business challenges, the role of the business sector in both participating and shaping the society we live in is very, very critical. While this book is not going to provide any secret strategy or recipe through which business can effectively help shape this world, it does provide tremendous insight for the creative mind that belongs to the business community and perhaps helps guide them. The book opens with several chapters on why the knowledge of business history is important to contemporary society. These viewpoints are presented by an esteemed academic, Joe Martin, a respected business leader, Red Wilson, and a star up-and-coming business person, Lauren Epstein. So it covers a full range and a full spectrum of generation of views and experience. Perspectives on society and business history's role in its shape and direction comes from two sources, fact and opinion. And each is critically important, but the latter must be based on the former to be impactful, to be respected, and to be meaningful. That is, opinion needs to be based on fact. Thus, it is important to have the archivist community present and active in this discussion of business history in Canada. So the next section of the book emphasizes the importance of archival material to the knowledge and presentation of business history. And this argument is extremely well presented by Robert McIntosh, the Director General of Archives Canada, and David Wilson, the editor of the Dictionary of Canadian Biography. Now, of course, we all know that Canada itself and its business sector is a very diverse community and is getting more diverse by the day. Our past, our present, and our future is shaped by this diversity. And it truly does distinguish Canada from many, many other countries in the world. So Canada must, and indeed is, embracing this diversity as a source of strength in the business community. So any study of business history must also incorporate and recognize this diversity. And this book is no different, and it does do that. There follows then several chapters on the role of women in Canada's business history, the role of the agricultural sector, regional insights including Quebec and the West, Indigenous business history, the industrial and manufacturing sector, advertising and marketing in the country, and of course the important role of the number one business sector today, the financial sector, and the role it's played in Canada's business history. So each of these chapters have been presented by notable and authoritative contributors from academia and business. The important question that comes from all of this, of course, is where does the Canadian business sector go from here? The book is very fortunate to have the insights of Professor Jason Russell on this very question, and he presents many possible routes of action based on the history of what has transpired in the past and the material I have previously discussed. But Jason also presents specific challenges that Canada faces in using business history to guide the country forward towards further advancement and prosperity. Specifically, he presents the argument that Canadian business history study evolves more from the study of the country's social history than from the study of business and corporations themselves. The latter to be driven by corporations, its leaders, and its workforce. This, by the way, is in sharp contrast to his history studies in the United States and Europe, Jason argues. And let me give you a troubling example of this. And this point arose last night when I was at a reception with the Rotman School, and many business people and academics were there. And we were having a brief discussion on business history and its role in Canada. And Canada, in my opinion, needs business leaders to respect, admire, and look up to by the average Canadian. And where are those individuals today, I ask? Their presence, I believe, is becoming rarer and rarer for the average Canadian. In the past, we have had a cadre of well-known business leaders that were helping to shape our nation through their public leadership of their prominent companies and industries. However, I feel that we are losing that impact of prominent Canadian business leaders being representative of their industry, of their accomplishments, of their employees, of their workforce, and I'm worried about that. A good example, can the average Canadian state the name of the president or chief executive officer of the bank that they use on a daily basis? A bank that their banking aspect of their daily life is such an important part of their life, but it's highly unlikely any average Canadian could name the CEO or president of that bank that they're banking with. And I think that's an issue that worries me because we need leaders, we need mentors, and we need to know that not just for today, but for the future as well. When 20 years from now, we're celebrating our 200th anniversary, what sort of material is going to be there looking backwards to inform the person of that age what happened today? We need leaders, prominent business leaders, to be known and to be creating that history. Not to say that such individuals do not exist. Of course they exist. TD Bank is one of the most prominent financial institutions in the world today. I would argue, however, that we need the business individuals to take a more prominent role in society, to create mentors and role models that convey the important role of Canadian business in shaping Canada's history. We need their critical knowledge and contribution to our society to be visible and known through archival material and general public knowledge, to establish the foundational data set that future students in society and academics of Canada's business history will use to make their own business judgments, their own opinions, and their own future policies on where Canada is going, using how we got to where we are at that point in time. I hope this book's helped shed some light on why this is so important. And I strongly encourage you to buy a copy of the book, read it, and become more informed on Canada's great business history. And all proceeds from the sale of the book go to the Canadian Business History Society and its programs. I would finally be remiss if I did not thank the sponsors of both our conference and the book, that being our charter corporate members, as you can see up here, but also our presenting sponsors of the conference and the book, which is Power Corporation of Canada, Canada Life, Great West Life, and London Life. We're very grateful to them for the support that they gave us very early on in putting that conference together. We could not have done it without them. With that, now this is a dual book launch, so we're going to pass it on now to Joe to talk about his book on the Canadian-U.S. financial industry.